Alright guys, so today we're going to go over percent composition. This is going to be a big review over what we did before we went on Christmas break for the most part, going over molar mass and how to calculate the molar mass of compounds, and then we're just going to add a little bit to it. So percent composition is just the percent by mass of each element in a compound, and we can calculate it using the equation that's on the board. So the percent composition is equal to the mass of the element divided by the mass of the compound times 100. So these are the steps, right? We're going to list out each element. We're going to find the mass of each element. Don't forget to multiply by the subscripts. Find the mass of the entire compound. And then we're going to plug it all into the equation that we have. Alright, so here's our first problem. Remember, as I go through these, in order to get full credit for your notes, you need to be writing down everything that I write down. So you need to have the questions written down, and then we're going to go through the examples, and as I go through it, you do exactly what I do. If you don't do that, you don't get full credit for your notes. Alright, as always, we're going to start out annotating the problem. I want to know what is the percent composition of hydrogen in H3PO4. So we're going to go ahead, move down. We're going to list out each element that we have in our compound. We have hydrogen, we have phosphorus, and we have oxygen. Next, I'm going to write down how many I have of each one of these elements. So hydrogen, we have 3 hydrogens. The phosphorus, there's only 1 of them. And the oxygen, we have 4 of those. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to multiply by the mass of each one of these elements. So if you look on my website, again, go to my website and go to resources, you will find a periodic table. We're going to look for each one of these elements. So my first element is hydrogen, and we're going to use the mass. The mass is the number on the bottom. So we're going to find hydrogen, the phosphorus, and the oxygen. So I'm not going to flip back and forth between the periodic table and this one, just to kind of save some time, and I can't really write on it. So I have them in my notes already. Alright, so pick a different color. Let's go with it. That one. Alright, so the mass of hydrogen off the periodic table is 1.008. The mass of phosphorus off the periodic table and the mass of oxygen off the periodic table . Okay. So now we have all of our masses. We will then go ahead and solve each one of these. 3 times 1.008 . Don't forget to think about your significant figures. 1 times 3.974, or 38.974. And then 4 times 15.999. Alright, so there's step 1, right? Find the mass of each element in the entire compound. Next, we're going to go ahead, we're going to find the mass of the entire compound. We're going to add all of this together, right? So add each one of them together, and then get the mass of the entire compound being 97.994. Okay. I only box my final answer, so I kind of underline the ones I need, or you can even circle answers within it, right? But this is the mass of the entire compound. Make myself some room. Okay. now we're going to plug it all in to the equation. So the equation is that the percent composition is equal to the mass of the element they're asking me about, and they are asking me about hydrogen up here, right? So I'm going to take the mass of hydrogen, which is right here. I'm going to plug it into the top, right? Let me step back. Let me write it out here for you. So So there's my equation. Now we'll plug it in. So we have 30.024 divided by mass of the whole compound, which is this one. So plug it all into our calculator, and we're going to get and we're going to round to the correct number of significant figures, right? So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. The least number of significant figures is 4, so there should be 4 in my answer. And we get box your answer. So 3.086%. Okay. So easy enough. All this stuff up top, all the way up to where I found the mass of 97.994, we have already done that. The new part is plugging it into the equation. Let's do one more. I'm going to do one more with you. Alright. Alright, so what is the percent composition of oxygen and H2O? So again, I'm going to list out each one of these elements. Hydrogen and oxygen. How many hydrogens do I have? Well, I have 2. Oxygens, I have 1. Multiply them by the masses off the periodic table. Hydrogen is 1.008. Oxygen is 15.999. Go ahead, multiply this. Then add to find the total mass of the entire compound. This is, alright, now we go ahead and we plug it into our equation. So we get, so percent comp is equal to the mass of the element on top, right? So the one that I have is oxygen, so I need this one. So 15.999 divided by this one. And then multiply everything by 100. Let's see what we get. Again, rounding to the correct number of significant figures, which is going to be 4 again. 88.81%. Okay. Simple enough, right? Pretty easy. Alright, so go ahead. At this time, you're going to try these on your own. You're going to pause the video and then unpause it when you're ready to go. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's pick back up here. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to kind of condense some of this so it's not going to be written out as much. Alright, so we're going to do aluminum. The first one. Right. Read our problem. We want, what is the percent composition of aluminum in this compound? So list out your elements. Al and O. Aluminum we have 2. Oxygen we have 3. I'm going to multiply those by the masses from the periodic table. I don't know why I put a times table there. So 26.982, and then we get 53.964 and 47.997. We're going to, again, add, and we're going to get 101.961. All right. Now we're ready to plug this into our equation. We're going to take the mass of the element that they're asking us about, which is aluminum. So that's this guy. Divided by the mass of the whole compound. Times 100. And that's going to equal, I'm going to write it down here. And these, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to tell you, just for these purposes, you can round to 2 significant figures, but always watch your significant figures, okay? So this is going to be so if you're close to 53%, you're good to go. All right? All right, moving on to our next one. Read our problem. I want the percent composition of oxygen and sodium hydroxide. List out our elements. Oh, I'll make room for hydrogen there. We have 1 of each of these times the mass okay. It's basically the same thing, right? So I'm not even going to finish doing that part. I'm just going to erase that. I'm just going to put the masses so I don't run out of room. Leave yours there. Just go ahead and put 1 times it and then finish it out. And your answer should be 22.990 for hydrogen or nitrogen. There's oxygen. Then hydrogen, we have 1 hydrogen. Okay. Go ahead. We're going to add all 3 of these numbers together. Okay. So these 3, we're going to add these 3 together. And we're going to come up with so the whole compound. We're going to add all the ones underlined in yellow together. We get 39.997. Okay? So we know we're going to need this one, right? Because we always need the mass of the entire compound. Then I go in. We're going to do our equation. The percent comp is equal to the mass of the element that they asked us about, which they wanted oxygen, so this guy, and I don't know why I put a 0 there because that's a 9. Should be 999. There we go. So we're going to take that mass, divide it by the mass of the whole compound, times 100. And again, I said for these purposes, you can just do 2 significant figures just to kind of shorthand it. And you get 40%. Okay. Scroll on down. I know it's getting a little hard to see. My apologies. I'll make sure next time I make the PowerPoint I give some more space in between there. That's my fault. But hopefully you can kind of see what I'm doing. Alright, or hopefully you did all this and you're just checking your answers at this point, right? So I want to know what's the percent composition of hydrogen in NH3. List our elements. I have 1 nitrogen, I have 3 hydrogens. Multiplying by their mass off the periodic table. Now I want the mass of the entire compound, so again we're going to add. Again, if I'm going too fast, you can always slow down the video or just pause it until you get caught up, right? So I know I'm going to need that guy. Now I'm going to plug it into our equation, our percent comp. I want the mass of the element they're asking about. They're asking about hydrogen, so I need this one. Divided by the mass of the whole compound. Times 100. Plug everything into our wonderful calculators, and we should get 18%. Number 4. I want the percent composition of nitrogen and PbNO3. Alright, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to scroll down here so I don't get you too confused. Right? I'm doing number 4. That way we don't get confused. All right. So, again, we're going to list out each element that I have here. We have Pb, we have nitrogen, and we have oxygen. And how many do I have of each one? Pb, there's no number behind it, so I have 1. Nitrogen, there's a 1 inside of the parentheses. And remember, we must distribute to everything inside of the parentheses. And when we distribute, we are multiplying. So 2 times 1 is 2. For the oxygen, 2 times the 3 is 6. Now multiply by the masses off the periodic table. .207.2 28.014. Forgive me. Now I want the mass of the entire compound, so I'm going to add all those guys together. Plug everything into my equation. Percent comp is equal to what the mass of the element they're asking about, which is nitrogen. So this one. Divided by the mass of the whole compound. Times 100, and you should get 8.5%. So I'll just write that right here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to erase number 4 at this point in time. If you don't have it all written down, press pause and then come back. Because I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do number 5 right below it so y'all can see a little bit better. Like I said, that was my fault that I didn't do it easier for you. Okay, here we go. So I want to know, what is the percent composition of sulfur in sulfuric acid? List out those elements. And how many you have of each one. Hydrogen we have 2, sulfur 1, oxygen 4. Multiplied by the masses from the periodic table. And go ahead, multiply all that out. I get my calculator, I didn't finish. Here we are. Now, add all these guys together to get the mass of the entire compound. And we know we're going to need that one. Now go back in, and we're going to do our equation. So percent composition is equal to the mass of the element being asked about, which is sulfur. So there it is. Divided by the mass of the entire compound, which we circled. And times 100. And we're going to get 33% for the last one. And that is it, guys. This is how we calculate percent composition for an element.